our Bosler meeting room. Thank you again for joining us for this second workshop. And we'll talk about customer service skills and ways to build your skills and gain confidence. We are here with Joyce Mandel. She is an employment specialist with over 15 years of experience helping youth and adults with virtual and live interactive employability workshops. For those attending, you are welcome to type your comments or questions into the chat area in the speech bubble here. And/or you can unmute yourselves by clicking on the microphone next to your name and/or unmuting. And without further ado, I will introduce Joyce.
Oh, thank you, Natalie. I'm so thrilled to be back. And I'm glad that you're with me, of course. And hi, Christopher. I hope that you'll unmute yourself so we would be able to chat also. I think you're muted, still muted. Yeah, so if you want to type something in also, that would be great so that we would be able to answer your questions, or if you want to say something, it's kind of a little bit more fun that way. But if you want to stay silent, it's fun also. So we're just glad that you're here. And what Natalie said is true. We're going to talk about customer service skills needed for jobs. And customer service is so important. Whatever job you seek, you must have the customer service skills to perform a successful career. Customer service is a support you offer customers that helps them to have an easy and enjoyable experience with you. And customer support is more than just providing answers. It's an important part of the promise that you gave when being hired for your job. And good customer service meaning providing timely, attentive, upbeat service to a customer and making sure their needs are met in a manner that reflects positively on the company or your business. Okay, so whatever job that you're going to seek, you really need good customer service skills, because without those, you will just not be successful. And think of it like of going into a restaurant. And if you go into a restaurant and have a waitress that is serving you, and she is terrible. She's not nice. She's really out of line with some of the things she says. Your food is late, it's cold. She doesn't care to bring it back. I mean, so I would think that you would say to yourself, after you complain to the manager, of course, you will not go back there. And because of her customer service skills, I would tell my friends, look, I went to that restaurant, I tried it out, and the waitress was horrible. Don't even bother going back. So because what if I said, they're probably going to listen to me, and then they'll tell their friends who will tell their friends who will tell their friends, and that little restaurant will lose a lot of people. So all the waitress had to do was be a nice person and have good customer service skills, okay, which is very, very important. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with, 21 key customer service skills and how to develop them. And we're going to go right here. Okay, before we do this, let me just read what customer service is. Customer service is the act of providing support to both prospective and existing customers. Customer service professionals commonly answer customer questions through in-person, phone, email, chat, and social media interactions, and may also be responsible for creating documentation for self-service support. It's really important because 86% of customers quit doing business with a company due to bad experience. It means that business must approach every support interaction as an opportunity to acquire, retain, or to sell. Understanding that customer service is the cornerstone of your customer experience helps you leverage it as an opportunity to delight customers and engage them in new, exciting ways. So it's really important to have these skills, because without these skills, you could lose business. And once you lose business, your boss is not going to keep you. That's what I think. And even, we'll get into that in a minute. Okay, so Natalie, I know, works in a library, and I know she has to have really good customer service skills because I'm sure she interacts with the public. And if she, can't answer a question or isn't nice to somebody, I'm sure the patrons are going to seek out her boss and let them know that, and probably not return to the library. And the library wants people back, especially now. Okay, so she really has to have good customer service skills, which I'm sure she does, because with me, she has great customer service skills. Okay, so here are 21 customer service skills that every professional should seek to develop and every leader should look for when hiring new members. Okay, so one of the customer service skills that are very important is patience. Patience is crucial for customer service professionals. After all, customers who reach out to support are often confused and frustrated. Being listened to and handled with patience goes a long way in helping customers feel like you're going to alleviate their current frustrations. It's not enough to close out interactions with customers as quickly as possible. Your team has to be willing to take the time to listen and fully understand each customer's problems and needs. So in other words, you have to have patience, because if you don't have patience for the customer, they're not going to come back. And I used to work for Toys R Us, and lots of times people would come in and they would look for specific toys, and if they couldn't find it, they would go over to one of the sales people on the floor, and they would have to look for the toy, and they would have to have patience with the customer and make sure that they find the right toy, because if they don't, the customer could go out and tell their friends, hey, you know what, you better not go back to Toys R Us. I went in, he wasn't nice, he couldn't find what he told me after I called on the phone and they said it was there. So patience is really important. You really have to listen well to the customer, and the customer really has to listen to you. So with that, I think Christopher is still muted. So any questions with that part of it? Natalie, what about you, patience in the library? How do you,
in terms of patience, especially with patrons, I would say that, it is important to acknowledge their concern and acknowledge that, we are willing to help them in the process, and, document everything that they are saying and respond to their inquiry, as soon as possible with, the greatest detail and concern. And also, this is important for working with presenters as well, and and also attendees, making sure that we are patient with their time and their needs, and requirements, and also attendees, like being able to answer their concerns and speak with them and take the time
to do that. And even if you don't know the answer, you're going to find the answer for them.
Yes.
Because you're going to be patient enough to listen to them, which is really important. Okay, thank you. Is Christopher typing in? I guess not. Okay, second, so we're talking about 21 customer service skills that every support professional should seek to develop and every leader should look for when hiring new team members. The second one is attentiveness. And Natalie said this perfect. The ability to truly listen to customers is crucial to providing great service for a number of reasons. Not only is it important to pay attention to individual customers' experiences, but it's also important to be mindful and attentive to the feedback that you receive at large. So you have to really be attentive to them and really, really, really listen to what they say, because if your mind is somewhere else, you're not going to pick up what they're saying. And then if you don't understand what they're saying and you can't help them, then you have to try to find somebody that can help them and let the person know hey, you know what, Joyce, I'll be right back. I'm going to ask my supervisor and let's see if he can help. You know, to let me know that you're gonna help me instead of just saying, I don't know, okay? And you have to, you know, be attentive to me because I am your customer. So I am the person that's going to bring in the business that's probably going to help pay your salary. You know, you can help think of it that way. Okay, another customer service skill. This is interesting. Emotional intelligence. A great customer service support representative knows how to relate to anybody, but they're especially good with frustrated people. Instead of taking things personally, they understand where the other person is coming from, and they know to both prioritize and swiftly communicate that empathy. Think about it. How often have you felt better about a potential grievance simply because you felt immediately heard by the other person involved? So let's say somebody's coming into the library and they are really upset about something. Maybe they're having I don't know, maybe they're, God forbid, somebody's sick in their family, and who knows with COVID, you know, that's been the worst. And they just want to kind of get it off their minds. And so you have to have the empathy to really listen to them before they even will tell you what they're looking for. Oh, I'm so sorry, Natalie, that you're going through this. I understand. You know, I really, you know, you know, my heart goes out to you. You know, and you're not going to take it personally. Let's say maybe they're yelling or they're raising their voice a little bit, but you're going to listen to them and you're going to show empathy. And it doesn't matter who the person is or how high up you are on a job. Everybody should have that empathy and everybody should have that caring to listen to the person and then to help them get to the next step. Okay, because when you are able to demonstrate sincere empathy for a frustrated customer, even just by talking about the problem at hand, it can help both make the customer feel better and maybe, you know, and maybe the customer will buy something from your store or will come back or will say, I went into the library, Natalie was wonderful, I was having a bad day, she listened to me. I mean, that's so important. You know, it really is. So it's called emotional intelligence, but it's actually just showing empathy for the person. Okay. All right. So you have to have patience. You have to have attentiveness. You have to have emotional intelligence. This is the best. You have to have the ability to communicate clearly. So your customer service support team is on the front of problem solving for the product itself and serves as a kind of, okay, blah, blah, blah. You have to be able to listen to the person and then communicate to them what you're going to do to help them. The ability to communicate clearly when working with customers is key skill because miscommunications can result in disappointment and frustration. The best customer service professionals know how to keep their communication with customers simple and leave nothing to doubt. So you have to make sure that you are going to communicate very clearly so the customer understands what you're saying. And, you know, just to tell you a quick story, again, it's the only story I ever worked with, but when I was in Toys R Us, it was during Christmas. Christmas is really, really, really busy. And so they had me on the floor helping customers. And I wasn't so great with finding the toys. You know, I was good with hiring people, but you know, they bring in a lot of different stuff for Christmas. And I just sometimes wasn't aware where they put it. So this woman came in, she said okay, so I was in Miami and she drove from, it must have been Homestead. She must have driven like close to an hour. That was then. Now it's probably 6 hours to get there. But the traffic is terrible, and especially during the holidays. And she came in and she said that they had told her in this store that they would hold one, and this, probably before your time, Natalie, but this was like a Cabbage Patch doll, and that we had 2 left. And I said, okay, do you know who told you this? And she was kind of anxious. It was hot, she was sweating. She says, no, I didn't get the name of the person. I said, okay, I'm just gonna go and ask them where the Cabbage Patch dolls are because I'm usually in the office and today I'm helping on the floor and I don't know where they are and I'm gonna find out where they are. So you just stay right here. Millions of people at Toys R Us. So I had to remember where I left her. And then they had told me where they were. So I came back to her, I said, great news, I found them, I'm gonna go get them. Meantime, I had to climb a ladder. I'm afraid of heights. Oh, but I did it. I figured, you know, I don't want to lose her. I said, you wait right on the ground. I'm going to just go right up. I'm going to get those and I'm going to come right down. I was hoping I'd come right down and not, and not fly down. Well, the sad part of the story is I went right up there, scared because I'm scared of heights, and I couldn't find the dolls. They were like not there. So they must have sold them already. That's what I was thinking. I thought, oh my God, she's going to be so angry. But I went downstairs and I said to her, look, I know you're going to be angry. I know they had told you the dolls were there. I could not find them. I think, this is what I think, but I didn't tell her that. I think they probably sold them. I said, but I'm going to ask again because maybe I'm in the wrong place. So I go and I went back and they said, no, Joyce, they were there. They were probably sold. I said, well, what am I going to tell the customer? She drove like an hour and you promised to hold them for her. Well, I don't know. So I went back and I said to her, look, why don't you, I know you're upset. Why don't we come into my office? I'm going to call another store. So I called another store in Miami. They had one doll left and I knew the manager and I said, please, Heather, please hold that doll for me. I'm going to come first thing in the morning before I go to my store. And she said, I will. I promised you. So I'm going to put it in the back. I'll put it under, nobody will find it. And I told the customer. And she said to me, how do I know you're telling me the truth? I'll never forget this. And I said, because I don't lie. And I can't go now and leave the store and get it for you, or else I would do that. But I will leave early in the morning from my house, pick it up and bring it back here. I said, wait a second. I said, you know what? Let me call you in the morning. I have it. You see what I mean? So you don't have to. And she said, okay. And that's what happened. Long story short. So what I'm trying to say is I communicated with her along step every single way so that she knew what I was going through with the ladder, down the ladder, with the supervisor, back, with the store. And she was very appreciative. And she said, thank you so much. I so appreciate this. You know, so A, I didn't lose the customer. B, she didn't tell people not to come shop at the store, which she should have, because they should have saved the dolls for her. That's what I think. And 3, you know, I did a good thing. You know what I mean? So I listened, I had empathy. I said, oh my God, I don't know how you drove so far. I'm so sorry. And I was able to communicate clearly with her. So it turned out okay. Okay, the next skill, problem solving skills. And this goes into what I just did. Customers do not always self-diagnose their issues correctly. Often it's up to the support rep to take the initiative to reproduce the trouble at hand before investigating a solution. That means they need to not only see what went wrong, but they're going to have to try to find how to correct it. So that's what I did. I saw that it was wrong what they told her because they sold the dolls, and then I had to correct it because I was the one that met the customer when she walked in. So I had to think of a way to solve the problem, and I was able to call the store, which luckily had one doll left. But I wouldn't have stopped there. I would have called other stores in the area to try to, you know, I just happened to pick, you know, I was lucky that the first call I made, she had the doll. Okay, so you have to think of ways to solve a problem. Okay, another part of customer service is the way you approach, okay? Okay, in customer service, haste makes waste. Hiring deliberate, detail-oriented people will go a long way in meeting the needs of your customers. 1, they'll be sure to get the real heart of a problem before firing off a reply, and there's nothing worse than attempting a solution only to have it miss the mark entirely on solving the actual issue. So it's really important that you take the approach that you follow up. So if you can help somebody and you say to them, but I'm going to find out what I could do, you know, can I have your number? Is there a way that I could email you? Follow it up, because that's the way that you could keep a person and make sure the person comes back. Okay, and that's a great approach, because that means that the person that that means that you're helping somebody and they see you're helping them and they feel good, they feel important that you took the time out to do that. Okay, and Natalie, I'm sure you can give me a couple of examples with that from the library.
Yeah, I mean, especially you're just you know, making sure that customers like feel like they're you know, being seen, like even just saying hello, how are you, to anyone that comes into the library, even when you're, you know, doing another task, like taking that time to pay attention to them and know that you're there for them, like, and if you see that they have another need that you may not be able to help with, you can allow, you know, another one of your coworkers to see if they're available to help them as well, you know, to address their need.
Right. And something else too that you just brought up, you know, you're in the library and you see me, and we talked last week, and this is a true story. My sister just broke her elbow. She tripped, broke her elbow, and let's just say I was telling you the story, and of course you had said, "Oh God, Joyce, I'm so sorry." And then you saw me a week later, and your first thing was, "How's your sister doing?" So you remembered, and that would make me feel so good that, you know, that I'm dealing with somebody that actually remembered what I told you, that you listened, and that you asked me how she was doing. You know, so that's all customer service. That all keeps the person coming back to the library is just by asking that, just little things like that, okay? Okay, so what about ability to use positive language? Effective customer service means having the ability to make minor changes in your conversational patterns. Oh, Christopher, could I see that again? I just missed his thing.
He said,
Follow-up is very important, yeah. Yes, it is. It really is. It's the reason why I would come back to the library, that somebody had remembered. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's very important. And you know, just to say that too, Christopher, sometimes I chat with like people like Natalie before we go on. And I was chatting with somebody last week. I was doing a workshop for her, and her brother was very sick. And, you know, I only met her, maybe I did a 3-workshop series with her. But, you know, I emailed her. You know, how is he doing, you know, and I emailed her, I think last week, the week before, and I'll email her again. And just, am I emailing her because I want her to hire me again? No, I'm emailing her because I really care, and I'm hoping her brother's doing well. So it's really important to follow up, whether it's for a job or whatever, you know, it is. So that was a good point. Okay, so ability to use positive language. Okay, so language is a crucial part of persuasion, and people, especially customers, create perceptions about you and your company based on the language that you use. It's so important to be positive. Responding to questions with positive language can greatly affect how the customer hears the response. This is somebody talking without positive language. I can't get you that product until next month. It's backordered and unavailable at this time. And then I just leave. I mean, then the person just leaves. Okay, and they leave me here, and I'm thinking, oh my God, they didn't even take my email, or, you know, or even say, I'm so sorry. Or with positive language, that product, Miss Natalie, will be available next month. I can place the order for you right now and make sure that it is sent to you as soon as it reaches our warehouse. I mean, what a difference. Here, the other person walked away and left them, and there Natalie is saying, you know, okay, you know, it'll be available next month. I could place the order for you right now and make sure that it is sent to you as soon as it's possible. Can I have your email address? Okay, and going back to my Toys R Us story, which I definitely believe, because I think the customer service in that store, honestly, was not great. If that person that told me that they sold the dolls talked to the customer, she would have lost the customer. Oh, definitely. She would have gone down and said, sorry, dolls are sold. Have fun. Merry Christmas. You know what I mean? But, you know, and in fact, Toys R Us, what they did when they hired me is they sent me, I live in Fort Lauderdale, and they sent me to Orlando for 2 weeks for training. Is that cool? So I trained with all the people from Disney because they have the best customer service. So that's how I really built up my skills. Because believe me, before that, I had no patience. Very little, except at work. But they were great. I mean, that was like the greatest training. Okay, so I think my store in North Miami Beach should have gone for the training. That's what I think. That's what I had thought when I went back. Okay, so you're using positive language. the first thing, okay. It's really important to be positive, and it's really important to let the person know that you are going to do something about it, that you're just not going to leave them there. And you're going to say to them, you know what, we don't have the doll, but I will see what I can do to try to get it. I'll call other stores, and that's how you do the problem solving, and that's how you're positive. Because once you're negative with the person, you're going to lose them. Okay, another example. Yes, I'm Jewish. My husband Michael's Jewish, and it's Passover, right? Last night was the first night of Passover, and unfortunately, we had no Seder to go to. So we thought we would go and get some matzah and some other stuff and just have our own little Seder. Well, we went across the street because they have a supermarket that just opened up, because I didn't want to go all the way to another place, which would have taken, I had to take my Jeep out, blah, blah, blah. So we look all over the store. We don't see the matzah. So I went over to the guy that works there, and I said, oh, hi, how are you? Good morning, blah, blah, blah. He said, oh, good morning. And I said, well, I was looking for matzah, and it's Passover, and there's no matzah. And he said, yeah, we decided not to order matzah because we didn't think that a lot of people would buy it. Oh, what? First of all, he's saying, I don't want to say what he's saying, but he's saying, oh my God, there are no Jewish people in the area. That's what I first thought of. And the second thing is, then why do you have all the Easter bunnies and everything in your and that's what I said to him. I'm a customer, and I said, well, why do you have everything celebrated with Easter and nothing for Passover? I don't know. Okay, so I said, I'd like to talk to the manager. He said, I am the manager. I swear. I said, you're the manager? He said, yeah. I said, okay, well, can you answer me? Why? I don't know. I said, well, maybe you could find out. No, I can't do that right now. And my husband Michael was with me, and he said, Joyce, leave it alone. It's okay. We'll go someplace else for the matzah. But you know what? That kind of bothered me. He had really bad customer service skills, and he could have said, you know what? Let me see what I can do. I'm going to call another store and see if they sell matzah. Why couldn't he do that? We would have gone in our Jeep, and we would have gone to get the matzah. Luckily, a private synagogue sent people in my building that are Jewish matzah. So we did have matzah, but I don't like their matzah. I'd rather have their Publix matzah. But he didn't do anything like that. He wasn't attentive, and I noticed that because I knew I was going to do the workshop today, so I was kind of trying to think about it. He wasn't listening to me. He was unpacking soda. He was talking to another person. He could care less there was no matzah. And he made Easter seem like that's the holiday, Joyce. I'm so sorry you weren't born like that. And that's really how I felt. My husband, Michael, didn't feel that way. He said, look, we'll go to 17th Street. We'll pick up the matzah. But that's bad customer service. So could I do something about it? I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of writing a letter. I am. And I got his name. I saw his name. So he did everything that you're not supposed to do. And I said, I better think about this in my workshop. Okay, so that's not the ability to use positive language. He could have said, you know what, I'm so sorry, we miscalculated. Let me see if I could go in the back and find some. First of all, well, we knew there was no matzah there. Or let me send you to another store. He did not. All right. Okay, so yeah, and that didn't make me feel too good about that. Okay. And he had nothing. It's not even that they didn't have the matzah. They had none of the other food that you would think you would have for a Seder, because it wasn't important to them, but it was important for them to have everything. You know what I mean? So I didn't feel good about that. And I don't think my husband Michael did either, but he's a lot more patient than I am, and nicer and kinder. And he just felt he was going to go to another. Christopher, okay. Hi, please write a letter. Oh, or send an email to the corporate office. Wait, I got to see that again. I know, I'm gonna have Michael do that, Christopher. He writes good letters. Wait, could Christopher put that in again? Could we see that again?
Yes, I can. It says, hi, please write a letter or send an email to the corporate office. Jewish people are often under attack. Stand up for those who won't stand up. That's what I do.
Oh, thank you. Yes, and I'm going to have my husband Michael do it because he worked for Consumer Affairs forever, and he took complaints. That was his job to listen. Yeah, no, we are going to do that. And I think, Chris, what bothered me the most was he just wasn't attentive. He didn't really listen. He was pushing the soda in and out. He was talking to somebody else. I was really unimportant. He could have cared less there was no monster in the store, and cared less that I was Jewish. Okay, you know what? Sorry. You know, yeah, no, we will write the letter. I'm going to have Michael do it. He's very good at it. Thank you, Christopher. Okay, product knowledge. The best customer service professionals have a deep knowledge of how their company's products work. After all, without knowing your product from front to back, they won't know how to help when customers run into problems. So like Natalie at the library would know her books, would know how to get online, because I'm sure there's a lot of maybe senior citizens that have trouble getting online and looking. So having that kind of product knowledge to help somebody means all the, really, I mean, somebody that's older, that's not tech savvy now. I mean, to have that kind of patience, maybe the library is the one place where they go where they know they'll get the help. So with that, Natalie, tell me about that with the library, with product knowledge.
Sure. So we have multiple databases and services available for people who are, seniors and or even the disabled as well. And, we always make sure to first see and repeat back to them like what we think that their need is and concern. For example, we had a gentleman the other month who wanted to have some resources on computers and specifically like tablets and like how to use the keyboard on the tablets. And so I made sure to call him and also email him just to confirm what his need was and how we could best help him with that. And what I did is I provided some resources to from our library, such as GCF Global, which has tutorials on using tablet keyboards, and also I gave him the contact information of our information services coordinator to follow up with him as well for help and assistance, and also just some local organizations in the area, such as the Employment Skills Center, that is able to help with computer skills and adult education. So I mean, and also making sure if there's any other questions or concerns that he would like assistance with, we're able to and glad to help him.
But that's great, because you took all the product knowledge and you gave it right back to him. You didn't say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. There's nothing I can do. You see, so that's right. That's great customer service right there. Okay. Acting skills. Sometimes your team is going to come across people who you'll never be able to make happy. Situations outside of control, such as the customers having a terrible day, will sometimes creep into your team's usual support routine. Every great customer service professional needs basic acting skills to maintain their usual cheery persona in spite of dealing with people who are just plain grumpy. And that's so true, because when you leave for work that day, it's like almost you have to leave your baggage at home. So any problems that you're having, you can't take to that store, you can't take to the library. You have to make sure that you're going to go in with a clean slate. And sometimes it does call for acting. It does call for that you have to be a cheery person, and you have to act, which sometimes it's very, very hard. I remember a couple of years back, well, a long time ago, because I had lost my mom when I was in my early 30s. And what happened was I flew home to New Jersey, and then I had an interview in Miami 2 days later. And the people that were interviewing me were from Washington, and they were only in Miami for those 2 days. So I had to interview, or else I would not be able to interview for the job. And I didn't want to go because I was so sad, you know. And what am I supposed to say at the interview? I'm sad because I just lost my mother. I'm sure they would show empathy, but they could, you know, what are they going to say to me? So I had to go into that interview with a panel of 7 people and act for 3 hours that I was happy and positive and cheery and all of that. And I did it, and believe it or not, I got the job, which was unbelievable, but I didn't take it. The salary was too low. And I should have thought about that before I interviewed. But what I'm saying is you have to have acting skills. And sometimes if a customer is having a bad day and somebody walks into Natalie's library and they are not very nice to Natalie, she cannot say, you know what, screw you, come back when you're happy. I mean, it would be good if she could do that, but she can't. She would have to say, I'm sorry you're having a bad day. I'd like to help you. Let's sit down. Let's see what I can do to, you know, to help you to make it a better day. I mean, because that's what you have to do. It's really a lot with acting, because it's a lot of times you don't feel like doing that. You feel like saying, okay, if you're someone happy, then come back when you're happier. Well, she's not going to come back when she's happier, probably, but maybe there's something that you could do to pull her in and to change her mood. You know what I mean? So, okay, so acting. Okay, time management skills. On one hand, it's good to be patient and spend a little extra time with customers to understand their problems and needs. On the other hand, there is a limit to the amount of time you can dedicate to each customer. So your team needs to be concerned with getting customers with what they want in an efficient manner. Best customer service professionals are quick to recognize when they can't help a customer, so they can quickly get that customer to someone who can help. So if we're in the library and a person asks for a specific book and Natalie just can't find the book, and she knows that somebody else could really be of help, she could say to the customer, you know what, Joyce, why don't you wait right here? I'm going to check with Harry and see, because he would know a little bit more. So as long as you communicate that you're trying to help and you don't know, you know, where it is, you know, you could like cut the chase and just try to get somebody to help you. You know, and also if people are waiting and you're talking to somebody and you know that you can't help them because it's going to take too long, but you know somebody else that could help them and it could take a shorter period of time, get the help. Because what's going to happen is you're going to lose the people. They're going to say, oh, come on, this is crazy. What am I waiting for? You know, they're not going to have patience for that. Okay. Okay. Another important trait, I'm going to kind of skip because we're like, oh my God, I don't know where the time goes. Okay. Ability to read customers. It's important that you understand some basic principles of behavioral psychology in order to read customers' current emotional states. So it's really important to again, to listen and to watch the customer to find out what kind of, you know, how you can read them. If they're having a horrible day, you're going to have a little bit more patience. If they're having a great day, well, that's great. You know, it'll be really easy to like work with the person, but it doesn't always work out like that. So you have to have that ability to find out or to look to see how that person is acting, how that person is reacting to you. And if you think, you know, and if you see, well, she's really sad and she's not having a great day, then again, you have to have the empathy and more patience to try to deal with the person. And that's your acting skills again, okay? All right. I love this skill. Tenacity. Call it what you want, but a great work ethic and a willingness to do what needs to be done is the key skill when providing the kind of service that people talk about positively. It's never giving up. It's really trying to help the person. It's to go the extra mile. It's to have that kind of passion where, you know, if you don't know it, you're going to have somebody that does know it to help the person. Okay. And I'm going to skip some of these. Okay. So let's just kind of summarize. So I'm going to go over this just with the list. Okay, 21 most important customer service skills that you can have. And we spoke about almost all of these. Empathy, communication skills, product knowledge, problem solving skills, patience, positive attitude, listening skills, a willingness to go the extra mile. Okay, and that's what I did with Toys R Us. You know, I went up on that ladder. I'm afraid of heights, but I was willing to give it a try just to make sure the person walked away happy. Personal responsibility. Oh, another customer service skill also is confidence, the confidence in yourself that you can help the person. Because if you don't have that confidence, you're not going to be able to help that person. So I'm thinking the guy in Green Lines yesterday had no confidence because he didn't help me at all. Okay. I think if he had some confidence in himself, he could have said, you know what? It is a Jewish holiday. Maybe we miscalculated. We should have had maybe matzah, just matzah, not all the other stuff. You know, I'm going to try to see if I can help her out and find a store that sells it. Okay, so I'm thinking he has no confidence in himself. Tenacity, you just don't give up. You keep trying. You're attentive, your desire to learn, your professionalism, your acting ability, because you're going to have to sometimes act. Because everything is not so rosy with you today. Well, that's too bad. And you better get it rosy once you enter the workplace, okay? Or you're going to lose the customer. The ability to respond quickly. I'm asking Natalie about, oh, it's such a great book. A book I just read by Diane Chamberlain called, oh my God, The House Down the Street, The Last House on the Street. I loved it. So I would go in and say to her, Natalie, do you have any other books by Diane Chamberlain? I love the book. And she would say quickly, oh yes, we have a whole shelf of those. You know, let me show you where they are. Okay, sorry, I mean, she's not sitting there going through anything with the computer. She's giving me my answer really quick. Time management skills. Well, you don't want to spend, Natalie doesn't want to spend 3 hours with me and lose these 7 other customers. So she has to problem solve, think quickly, and then get to the other people, or they're gonna walk out. That's what I think, okay? The ability to let it go. And, okay, the ability to let it go. That's a good one. The ability to let it go is sometimes you really can't help the person. I mean, you could do everything, you could try, you could do, and you just can't help the person. So you have to know when you've come to that point and you just have to let it go. I mean, you could always take their email address and say, you know what, if I could solve it and I find it, I'm going to keep you in my head and I'm going to email you right away. But right now, I'm just going to have to let it go. I just went through everything that I could think of, every resource that I could think of, and I just can't, you know, I'm so sorry, okay? So if you do something like that, then the customer understands that, wow, you know, she went through everything and, you know, she will take my email address, and if something comes up, she will email me. Okay, so with that in mind, Christopher, I'm gonna look for your little thing. Do you have any questions? Natalie, do you have any questions?
I mean, I don't see any questions in the chat area yet, but I also put in some resources for virtual in-person events, so PA Career Link, business communication through GCF Global, and a few more resources there that I'll also provide in the description of the recording.
Okay.
In terms of customer service, some like skills that, or some ways that that people can, you know, build them from. So, for example, like from a virtual kind of job, like how would they go about building those more, like in terms of their environment, you know, with it being virtual?
Okay, so you want me to answer?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying, how do you go from being like on the computer all the time to actually getting back to work and dealing with the people?
Yeah, and or if you are in like a virtual kind of job, you know, how to build upon those customer service skills, I guess, in a certain way.
Yeah, you will, but you could kind of do it virtually, because if you're on like a Zoom call, you still see people, so you still have those customer service skills. If you're on virtually and you're a telemarketer, you still have to talk to people. How many times does a telemarketer call me and I want to hang up on them? And I don't, because I have good customer service skills, and I have to say, you know, I'm so sorry, I'm not interested, but thank you so much. You know, I mean, you just practice that all the time with friends, with family. It's all customer service. It's you know, I live in a high rise, you know, in Fort Lauderdale, and I mean, there's so many people in my building. So that's whole customer service, you know, people that help at the desk. I always say good morning, or, you know, I'm expecting this mail and I haven't received it yet. Could you kind of maybe, you know, let me know when it comes in, or, you know, I live in St. Peter. So Christopher lives in Florida. Hey, St. Pete. Yeah, you know, so you have that kind of mentality, you know, and if you don't have it, you have to improve on it, because customer service is so important. You know, it's the way people see you. And if you don't have those skills, they're not going to want to deal with you, you know, and, you know, that's how I kind of felt yesterday with Greenwise, YouTube and other training. Yeah, and there's a lot of trainings on you. Yeah, definitely, Chris, definitely. Okay. I just want to touch on this really fast, because this is good what you just said, Natalie. I have 19 tips to improve your customer service skills. Okay, so let's say you don't have the greatest customer service skills, like that guy in Greenwise. Okay, how could you improve them? How could you actually work on them? Okay, first of all, practice active listening. Behind every customer service call is a real human who has a question or concern that needs to be answered. The person needs to feel understood, heard, and served. Active listening is a key skill set that you can develop by practicing daily. Just what we said, on your coworkers and your family, okay? First, you should approach each conversation with the goal to learn something and focus on the speaker. After the customer is finished speaking, ask questions so in other words, that you were listening to what the speaker had said. Okay, so when you active listen, you have to make sure that you're listening and not, oh yes, I agree, but you're not in the Bahamas somewhere. You're actually listening, so then you could come back with questions and the person knows that you were listening. Okay, so how do you improve that? I would say that start with your family. Sometimes I don't want to listen to what my husband Michael says, but I make sure I do, so then I could answer him back in some kind of way that I'm listening. Okay, and I give food to family, the giving box, and other things like hygiene items to people who. Okay, I missed the thing. Let's see.
He said that I give my excessive food bank to family and given to non-family members.
I have regifted to people who have given me gifts. Yeah. Okay. So you want tips to improve your customer service, active listening. I'm always taking customer service classes. You see, that's great, Chris. You can start doing the workshops. Maybe we can do it together. That's great. That's great. Okay. So you're going to practice active listening, and you're not only going to possess the ability to become a truly exceptional customer service agent, but you'll also improve relationships outside of the office. Yeah, so if you want to improve your customer service skills, make sure you can active listen. Learn to emphasize with your customers. Empathy is the ability to understand how the customer is feeling and where they're coming from. While some people seem like they're born with the trait, it's a skill that can be acquired. How do you like that? So somebody that doesn't have empathy can acquire that. When listening to the customer, try to see the problem through his eyes and imagine how it makes him feel. So when I was talking to that person at Toys R Us, I said, oh my God, I know exactly how far you drove, because I used to teach where she came from, Homestead. That's like an hour's ride to North Miami Beach. So I emphasized with her driving, while the person told her the dolls were there when they weren't there. So she wasted gas, she wasted her time. So I was able to empathize with her. And I actually did feel sorry for her, because I know what she went through. Okay, that's so important. Okay, use positive language. Again, that's so important. I'm so sorry we don't have it now, but I will find out how I can get it to you. Don't worry, we'll work something out. If you can't solve it, I'll email you. I will, work on it. Just be positive with the person. Never say, I'm so, forget it, I can't help you. Have a good day, okay? So you want to keep, this is interesting too. You want to use phrases like, great question, I'll find it out for you. Okay, so the guy in green lies. He could have said, oh, that's a great question. You know, I think that they didn't do it because we didn't think we'd get the sales, but I'm gonna find that out. Hold on, okay? He didn't even do that. He just kept putting the soda on the shelf, all right? So yeah, so I just thought about, now I'm getting more angry as I'm thinking about, you know, yesterday with customer service. Okay, or you could say, you know what, Natalie, I don't really understand what you're looking for, but I would love to understand it a little bit more. Can you explain it? Okay, and that's active listening, and then she's not gonna get turned off. She's gonna say, wow, she's really interested. Okay, so you wanna keep the customer in the present moment. I think that's so good. So you want to make sure that that customer is in the moment when they really want something, okay? You don't want the customer actually to leave or not to have a positive thought about you. And also remember, when speaking to customers, make sure you're positive, you're memorable, and you always have to stay calm. You never want to say, why are you yelling at me? What did I do? No, I'm sorry you're so upset, Natalie. I am going to try to find a solution for this. And then if you really can't calm down the person, you would ask for the supervisor. But normally the person calms down when they find out you want to try to help them. Okay, so these are tips to improve your customer service skills. You want to improve your technical skills, which I'm sure in the library are important. Customers may come to you with all types of problems, and they want their questions answered fast. If you don't know how to properly implement how to do something, you'll be wasting their valuable time. So before interacting with the customers, you should fully understand how to use your right. So in other words, you need to listen to them to find out what they're looking for technically. And if you can't help them, you have to find somebody that can help them, so they're not wasting their time. And you have to know your products and services. We spoke about that. And look for common ground. Sometimes you could be chatting with a customer, or, oh my God, there's such a pretty shirt. Where'd you get it? Oh, I definitely shop there also. So you kind of have a common ground with the person. You want to communicate clearly. Sometimes you're not going to do the right thing. And if you make a mistake, you have to admit it. So in other words, if a customer is talking to me and I'm not quite understanding what they're saying, and I say something and it's not, it doesn't help her, and she says, well, you're not helping me. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm kind of made a mistake about that. I thought that would help you. Admit it. Say, hey, I'm sorry. Let me listen again. Let me try to, work that out. Okay, because everybody makes mistakes. Okay, that guy in green lies made a mistake. That's what I think, a bad mistake with that. You want to be speedy. You want to answer questions quickly. Oh my God, it's 12 o'clock. Okay. You want to be willing to learn, and you want to and you want the customer feedback. So you want to hear how you did with the customer. You want to say to them, is this what you needed? Is there anything else that I can help you with? Okay, so you want their feedback, and they could say, you know what, Natalie, thanks so much. This is perfect. I'm going to start with this, and then, if I need anything else, I'll come back to you. Okay, so you want that person to feel that you helped them. And even if you didn't help them, you tried to help them. You see, the guy in the store didn't try to help us at all. He was stacking the soda, could care less, okay? So there was no kind of empathy there. There was no kind of help there. There was no kind of recognition that we're a different religion, and maybe we did make a mistake, or I'm so sorry, you could get it over at this supermarket. That really bothered me. He had terrible customer service skills, now that I think about it, after I do the workshop. Okay. So let's see, okay, there's one else thing that I wanted to go over. I know we're out of time. No, I can't find it. Wait. Okay, so really, you really, I guess just to make this all, into one little summary here, customer service is so important. You want to help the person, you want to show empathy, you want to active listen, you want the person to come back, and you want to make sure that you are doing everything you physically can and emotionally can to make that person feel important. And that's really where it is. It's I think that's where every kind of business is, whether it's virtually or whether it's, in person. It's anywhere. It's in a grocery store. It's in CVS. How many times have I gone into CVS and they have terrible customer service? Do you know where this is? No, somewhere along aisle 4. Okay. Is it in the middle of aisle 4? Is it in the beginning of? I mean, give me a break. And then you can't even tell now if they smile because everybody wears a mask, still wears it. Well, they don't really wear a mask in Florida anymore, but I still wear a mask. So you can't even tell by their facial expressions. I mean, just a little bit of kindness and empathy and active listening and having confidence. I mean, that makes the person feel so much better, and it gives them that feeling that, you know what? I'm going to come back. I had a great experience and I'm going to tell my friends and they're going to come too because you guys were so nice, and it's really important. Just to tell a really quick story and then I know we're running out of time, is we live downtown Fort Lauderdale, so we're with the restaurants, the bars and every place. And they just opened up a restaurant across the street from us and they think nothing of it to play music till 11 and 12 o'clock at night, okay? And I've gone in there many times and I've spoken to the manager and I said, look, some people like to go to sleep kind of early and get up and early and your music is way too loud. So he said to me, well, I'm sorry, you should not have been living in Fort Lauderdale. You should live in someplace quieter, like a farm. He was horrible, terrible customer service skills. And he said, the corporate office and business office seek to install customer service. Yes, and Christopher, he had terrible customer service skills. So I think, this is what I said. I said, you really have to make the music lower. You know what he said to me? He said, the only 2 things I have to do is pay taxes and die. This is what he says to me, a manager. I said, oh my God, how could you say that to me? But what we did is we went to the commissioner, we went to the commissioner's commissioner. So we're kind of, trying to get them to really, address the problem. But I've been trying to find the corporate office for this restaurant. I can't find it. I can't find the number. We've Googled, we've tried. They have terrible customer service. The other night I called, I said, listen, it's 9:30 at night. Your music is coming into the bedroom. Click. They just hung up. They didn't even, right. So I'm thinking, where is their customer service? I might be a customer and I would tell nobody to go in there, nobody. So we're trying to fight the music and they have horrible customer service. They don't actively listen. They don't say, oh, I'm so sorry. Let's see if we could lower it a little bit. I'm not telling them to turn off the music just so it doesn't come in my bedroom. Oh, you know what? Because we're keeping you up. Why don't you come over for a glass of wine, right? That would have been nice. I might have gotten dressed and gone across the street for a glass of wine. Not that I wanted to listen to the music, but nothing, no customer service. So anyway, I know my time is up, but Christopher, I really hope that you learned something from this. And Natalie, thank you.